Check one, check two. Can you hear me? Well, I'm monitoring in my own channels anyway, so I know that this sound is coming out, and I am broadcasting and I am live. So, once again, introductions. I am Dark Arps, and this is my studio. For those of you who've watched before, you know I just step up and I jam for an hour. It's kind of like a gig, basically. You know, that's been fun. I've been trying to think of ways that I can kind of like bust out of that mold and take a slightly longer format approach to this. The way my current inspiration, Colin Benders, does. He manages to enthrall an audience just through his explorations on his modular rig, and he stops the music and he talks about what he's doing and explains his process, and he'll like get stuck on something and he'll stop everything and be like, I gotta fucking fix this, I gotta understand this. It's a very intimate kind of like look into his process, sequencing and sound designing with modular, and no, I mean, he's just an incredible inspiration. What I'm doing, like, I'd like to be doing some more show and tell, so feel free to interact, ask questions, because I have a system going on here too that I'm quite proud of, and I can give you guys like a little rundown for whoever's watching right now, and if anyone ever watches this video after the fact. There's a lot going on here. Like, for one, visually speaking, I have a lighting system going on in this space that is effectively controlled, sequenced in a fashion by Ableton via some other pieces of software. Like, I'm running a lemur patch on my iPad, which allows me to control the lights, the triangle thing and the bar above my gear, so I can change the color of these things. But I'm going to stick to this kind of teal today, and I can make it pulsate, and I can make it kind of glitch out a bit. Basically this is like, what this is doing is it is sending instructions from a Max for Live patch that I designed in Max for Live, and it sends OSC data, and that OSC data is interpreted by processing sketch, which converts that, or it's basically saying what color should each one of these RGB pixels be, really fast. And then it sends that data out to a little device over an Ethernet cable. So everything here is networked, and the same with the floor spots. Those are on a DMX controller that has a USB box connected to my laptop. And so again, Ableton is able to kind of like, functionally, so sequence or at least automate some fading, and that's really all I'm doing here. I'm just kind of like setting it to kind of oscillate a little bit, so kind of adds to the interest. I've also got 2 strobe lights set up, which I'm able to control by waving my hands over this leap motion controller. So there's 2, one on either side, so when I lift my hand up it turns the strobe on, and then when I twist my hand it changes the speed. So I can have like 2 strobes. It can get pretty ravey in here. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm quite proud of that, really. It's a lot of fun. And I have a smoke machine in here too. I might turn it on for this session, if I remember. Because once I start playing, I tend to forget. All the promises that I might have made at the beginning of the session typically go out the window. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to stop and talk a lot. But I never really do, because once I start jamming, I feel like we've got to keep going. Like, I don't want it to stop. I don't want things to stop. So typically once I get moving, we're going. What else can I show you about this system? You know, everything is very tightly synchronized with Ableton Live as well, and getting hardware and software to be really, really, truly in sync is pretty difficult, and it took me a while to get there, but I'm pretty solid now. It's all thanks to a particular device here called the ERM multi-clock, which effectively it synchronizes very, very tightly with Ableton Live in this case, or Logic, or any DAW over an audio stream, and it produces an extremely tight clock, and that clock signal is being fed to all the hardware through various MIDI throughs and MIDI splits and whatever else. All these different pieces of gear are on one of the 4 outputs on this clock. And the great thing about this clock is that it has swing control, shuffle control on each track, on each channel. So you can really, really easily dial in a pretty funky groove on this setup. So then, you know, what else can I show you? Well, oh yeah. So something else that I'm quite proud of about this system is this set of pads as a note input device, because like not only can I play drums with it, those are really too quiet right now, level will be better, but that's a ridiculous kick drum, that will change. That's my kick right now. So, you know, I can play the drum sounds on it, but I can also play melodic sounds on it through basically a custom scale input, another Max for Live device that I actually hired a guy to make for me, Benny. And this thing allows me to just play in the notes that I want. And I just do it by ear. I can play in the notes that I want to be mapped to these 8 pads. So I've already done this for this particular background sound we have going on. And like, I can control any synthesizer in the whole system on those pads. Or I can even control like a contact instrument, which is what this is. So I input my scale, and I'm not musically literate, so unfortunately I can't name what this scale is, apart from the fact that it's in D, but it goes like this. Someone with some real musical education, please tell me what that is. But yeah, so basically I have those kind of note controls, and then I can like double up on this. And it means I can never play a wrong note, which is kind of fun. I mean, that's kind of it system-wise, what's going on. It's kind of the main thing. Oh yeah, and another thing that's happening that is sort of extremely powerful is that the modular synths, and well, actually right now what we're hearing is really a sampler, granular sampler. The modular gear is all going into the Octatrack, and currently it's just passing the signal straight through, but the cool thing is that I can sample into the Octatrack and then play back what I have been sampling in real time. And you can do some very interesting things that way, because it's sort of like a delay, but really it's more like a retiming of the input audio. So especially if you send it something that has a certain rhythm to it, you can kind of change what that rhythm is, and then if it's also melodic, it can get quite interesting. So yeah, that's basically what's going on in here. So, you know, over here on the Morphogene, right now it's playing one particular sound, but I think I'm going to choose something different from this reel. So it's about to sound different, and I'll have to rescale my pads, and I'll have to find a new melodic scale to work with. But I'm just going to kind of flick through randomly and see what we get. Oh, I like that. That could be very nice. So you just think of these as tones, you know, and we can kind of capture. Little slices of it. And you can work with those slices. You can like add more slices on top of each other. You can build up a kind of a wash. Yeah, Yeah, that's quite nice. That was the yellow color on this reel. Also kind of ethereal. And these things can sound kind of interesting when you pitch them down. You can get into some pretty chilled out territory. It's amazing how when you pitch a sound down, it just makes everything feel more relaxed. I mean, without wanting to waste anyone's time too much, I reckon we can maybe start with this. But I have to figure out what key we're in. So I'm just doing it by ear. I'm like, sort of like C. Although we're a little flat for C. There we go. All right. I think that's pretty good. Sounds C enough for me. So now I know I'm in C, and now I'm like, you know, what does this feel like to me? At this point, I'm really just kind of imagining a scale going from the root, and what does it go up to? And usually you guys can't hear this sound, but I'm going to make it a little louder so that you'll hear it in my microphone. So you can probably hear that. And now I'm just going to figure out what notes I want to be in my scale. So that'll do. So I get to put 8 notes in my scale, obviously. So now that I played those notes into my scale capture device, thank you again, Benny, for that, because it's really amazing for me, and I can play anything with that scale. And that just gives me, you know, a hassle-free way of dropping in some notes that are going to work. So I think I'm going to stop talking now and start playing. And we're going to be ambient for a while, and I'm going to take my time, and you're going to chill out. And then we're going to start getting a little beaty, and before you know, we're going to be in some fucking, you know, dance floor territory. All right. Thank you for listening to me babble. I'll start playing now. I always find adding a little bit of distortion to a low pitching note. If you're trying to get your tuning right, if you add a little distortion, you can hear the harmonics and tune it a little better. And to be clear, what I'm doing right now is basically what I've been doing every time for the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 sessions now. And I've wanted to have a system, just like a template way of working, even though it's totally not my style usually to take the easy route. I've decided to give myself a break, and like having this one particular set way of starting and working has been really great, actually, because there's this obviously certain comfort there, but also you can really dial in a workflow, and you start seeing patterns emerging, things that work, and you just get really, really accustomed to using the gear in a particular way. So I'm quite excited about this workflow for the way that I'm working, because like I said, this is going to get sampled into the Octatrack, and then you can start getting dancey out of a pad or a drone. modulation on the algorithm control of the Arps, which is what is giving us this angry buzzing in the drone. Morphogene is sending its output not only into a dry feed going into the mix, but also to a few other places, and Warps is one of them. So I'm kind of combining an oscillator from Warps with the sound coming out of the Morphogene. And you can also terrible kick drum that we're going to have to do something about. First thing I'm going to do is pitch it down. And try to match the key. It's never a bad idea. I love the sound of this kick. I may just completely throw out this kit and try something different. And I'm just going to load up a different kit. A lot of the time, I'm just loading up a random kit. I don't know actually what's coming. Is this the right key? Let's put some distortion on this kick drum to find out. I think so. Yeah. That's pitched well enough for me. Very useful thing to do. Let's check out this snare bridge. Man, there's a lot of effects on that. Let's take those off. I don't want any effects. Crazy effects on the delay happening on the analog rhythm as well. Just going to shorten the decay on this. Maybe pitch it up. And like what I'm doing here is that snare clearly has a key, a pitch to it, and it's I think it's an 11th up from the tonic. So you've got, that's your octave. No, it's not an 11. I don't know. Somebody help me. Anyway, that's what I'm doing between my kick and my snare. Because that brings the scariness. Clap. And there's some very interesting modulation going on the delay on this patch. But I'm going to not use that for now. Got our toms in the middle row. Let's get those up to level. Bit of gain. That needs some tuning. That'll do. Tom, you'll do for now. I don't want it to sound like it. Another tom. Another short decay. That's nice. Alright, hi-hats. Let's take our delay and reverb off the hat. Make sure we get lots of level out of it. Open hat, cymbal. Wow, nice. My cowbell is practically impossible to hear. All right, we have a drum kit. Cool. Usually I move a lot faster than this. Like I said, I want to try and take my time and not feel like I'm exhausted after an hour. So, yeah. hopefully the audio quality is okay for you guys, whoever's watching. Hopefully it's not been too crunchy. My level does tend to creep up a little bit over time, so yeah, it can get kind of loud. Hope it's sounding good for you. Big ups and hellos to Candace, my biggest fan ever. Candace, I love you. Go Pete is here. Vaso Death on Twitch. I don't think I know you yet. Listening on a 5.1 home stereo. Unfortunately, I'm not feeding you a 5.1 system. That would be cool. Laura's here, all the way from Australia. Jim Summers. Artem. Thank you for joining me, guys. I'm gonna keep playing. Scott sounds like a mysterious big rig driving down a dark highway. Yeah, I could definitely be making soundtracks for those kinds of David Lynch movies. Hook me up. gotten to that time of the evening. Time for me to pack it in. Ideas are getting a little sloppy. It's getting a little dull. And I'm also hot and sweaty. I've got air conditioning in here, but even with it, it's muggy. Muggy in my garage. Anyway, much appreciated, many thanks, and where is that coming from? Here. Yes, found it. Thanks very much for tuning in, everyone that tuned in today. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, post me on groups. And if you know anyone that would like to hear this, maybe they have a Facebook group or something, send them my way. I'm always up for playing gigs for other crews. All right, till next time.